This is what's in my camera bag as a photography and video creator for the year ahead in 2026. And quite a few things have changed since my last full gear showcase last year. I'll be showing you 3 different setups for different scenarios. Number 1, the full travel / brand campaign shoot setup. Number 2, the minimal setup. And number 3, the EDC everyday carry setup. Plus I'm facing some dilemmas with some of my lenses that might result in me selling one of my favorites of all time. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name is Henry. I'm a photography and video making creator here on YouTube and on Instagram who loves to travel and create visually inspiring work. And today I wanted to show you some pieces of gear that have allowed me to take some of the most amazing shots I've been able to capture so far in my photography journey, which even won me a photography award last year, and you'll be surprised the setup and the gear that I used to take it on. Okay, so this is setup 1, which encompasses the setup where I mainly travel with and also conduct client shoots or branded shoots with, starting with the backpack. This is the PGY Tech One Go Light, 22 liters in black. And I've been using this on my travels all year last year since its release, I believe, around middle of last year. And I've been really loving using it since. If you watched my gear talk last year, you would have known that I came from a crumpler backpack and I actually really liked using it, but had one main gripe with it. And that was it didn't have a side access pocket, which now the PGY Tech bag has solved. The layout between the 2 bags is actually quite similar. The bottom half fits all the required gear, so 1 body and 2 to 3 lenses, and the top half fits other travel essentials like clothing, maybe an action camera, sunglasses, etc. But this side pocket access on the PGY Tech bag is the main thing that has won me over from the crumpler bag. I generally don't like to put my backpack on the ground if I'm able to while I'm out in the field, so having this side access and swing it to the front to grab my camera or to grab a lens or to swap a lens is really key to me. It also fits my MacBook Pro 14-inch in the laptop sleeve compartment easily as well. Let's move on to the thing that actually takes the photos and the videos. And this is the A7C II. So this is my main travel camera. I am also filming on the Sony A7 IV, so I can't show you that right now. But the A7C II is my main travel camera, and I love it for the compactness and the size. In my various gear reviews in the past, you'll hear me keep harping on about size, weight, and compactness. And the A7C II is the embodiment of balancing great size, compactness with really solid performance. I don't need the A1 Mark IIs or the Canon R5 Mark IIs or the Sony A9 IIIs of the world, especially for what I shoot. The Sony A7C II's 30 megapixels is such a sweet spot in my opinion for both photography and video, and S-Log3 is such a nice and flexible log profile for post-processing. But with anything there are pros and cons, and the negatives with this is firstly, you must live with the fact that it's only got 1 SD card slot. So if for whatever reason the SD card corrupts, you lose your files without a backup. Thankfully, that hasn't happened to me, knock on wood, it doesn't. Secondly, the viewfinder is tiny and the resolution really isn't great. Lastly, the sensor is slow, the rolling shutter for video really isn't great, and I'll put an example on the screen. And also on the video side, unfortunately, because of the slow sensor, in 4K 50 and 4K 60, you'll experience a 1.5 times crop. So if you're shooting on a 24mm lens, for example, that becomes more than a 35mm equivalent when shooting in slow-mo. As with everything, like I said, there are pros and cons, and there are ways to work around those negatives. But all in all, I've been really enjoying using and carrying this on my travels. Okay, so let's talk about the lenses that I've used to pair up with this lens. And firstly, that is the Sony 2470 G Master Mark II. This lens has been on my wish list forever, but I just couldn't justify forking out $2.5 for it when I already had the 24-50 G lens. I actually won this lens from a photo competition run by Sony Australia in the photography category of city and street, not to toot my own horn. So this is how this lens came about. But that really has caused a dilemma because now I've got overlapping focal lengths between this lens and this lens, so the 24-50 and the 24-70 G Master. But that aside, I've taken the 24-70 for a Taipei and Tokyo trip so far, and I've really loved a couple of things about it. Firstly, obviously the full zoom range versatility, being able to shoot wide at 24 and starting to get into the tele ranges at 70 millimeters. The sharpness of the lens producers corner to corner is really, really nice, and how lightweight it is, relatively speaking, for a 24-70 lens compared to other standard zooms from other brands. The autofocus is silent, accurate, and second to none to any lens on the market right now. And some would say it's boring, but honestly, it's a do almost everything lens for any genre of photography and videography. And the second lens I would bring on my travels and for client work would be either this one, the 70-200 f4 G lens, or the 85 1.8 prime lens. And what would distinguish between either me bring this one or me bring the 85 would be if I knew where I was going and then there were particular compositions or particular spots that I knew I had to shoot beyond an 85, I would bring the 70-200 in that case. So for example, having traveled to Taipei a couple of times, I knew there were a couple of photo spots specifically for plane spotting that you needed a 70-200 because an 85 wasn't long enough. So for example, those scenarios, I will bring the 70-200. But I did want to touch on one point. So the 85-1.8 plus the A7 II definitely is not what I would say the latest and greatest in photography gear. Pair them together, I would say they are a budget-ish to mid-tier setup, at least for the Sony system. But besides the point, what I'm trying to get at is the photo award that I am very grateful I won last year was taken on that setup. So the 85 plus the A7C II. And the point is you can still achieve amazing photos regardless of your setup. So you don't have to chase the latest and greatest, just finding what works for you is crucial. And then lastly, so I will bring the zoom and a tele, and then I would also bring a 35mm with me for days of travel where I'm not specifically going out to shoot photography, but I still want a camera and a lens on me for moments where I do want to capture something. 35mm does really great for contextual portraits while still providing really pleasing bokeh, especially on this f1.4 version. For street, for landscapes, for general travel, this has been really nice. So that's my 3-lens setup for when I do go travel. But I also do use this for branded client shoots. Speaking of client work, today's channel sponsor is Zhiyun, and this is the Zhiyun Weebill 3E gimbal. And this gimbal is exactly what I wish I had in my kit way earlier for professional videography work. It's rated to hold a weight capacity of 3 kilograms, so it can take the weight of my Sony A7 full frame body plus a zoom lens with ease. Switching between landscape to portrait orientation is super easy without adding or removing components with native portrait switch. Wireless Bluetooth shutter control and all other controls are right at your fingertips. It charges via USB-C and you can let it run for up to 16 hours. All this and only weighing in at 990 grams, super lightweight. So if you're serious about stepping up your videography game, this gimbal is the one. I'll let the results speak for itself. Look at this test footage. Absolutely silky smooth. So, thanks again to Zhiyun for supporting today's video. So now let's get into the second setup, which is the minimal setup. I call this the minimal setup because it's literally just a one body and a one lens or a second lens type of setup. So this setup is ideal if I'm visiting a city or a location and I know I've got a couple of days to really explore in depth of that location. And in those cases, I find this setup to be quite versatile. Otherwise, this setup would be my go-to as well, just for local at-home photo walks as well. So to keep this setup as minimal as possible, this is the bag of choice. A sling bag. This is the Wandered 6-liter Rogue Sling V2. I know they've come out with a V3, but this is a V2 and it works perfectly for me. It's water resistant, has all the dividers, pockets you'd ever need for a lightweight setup. The only complaint I would have is it's sort of over cushioned in my opinion. So if your body and lens of choice is quite big, let's say an a7 IV or 5 with a 24-70, that would almost take up most of the real estate inside the compartment. So this is more of a small body and a 1-to-2 lens type bag. So in terms of camera gear, no change to the body, still keeping it lightweight and compact with the A7C II, but my favorite all-time walk around lens is the 35mm f2.8 from Zeiss. So small, so lightweight and compact. And the second one being the 55-1.8, also from Sony and Zeiss. So these pair of lenses were released alongside the original Sony Alpha mirrorless launch more than a decade ago. And they're not the sharpest lenses, they don't focus the fastest, they aren't as weather sealed as the modern GM lenses are, but they pack a lot of character in the image quality, and they're still sharp where it needs to be in the center. And they're just so lightweight, and if you're not chasing perfection, these are such great walk-around lenses to have. So you could carry this setup without fatigue for days, and I think that's the magic of this setup, keeping you out in the field, taking photos and videos without friction. Okay, now onto the third and final what's in my camera bag setup. This is the EDC everyday carry for when I'm not traveling or doing any shoots for clients, and this is just for me. So this is for the in-between moments. Maybe it could be on your commute, the grocery run, or maybe intimate moments with family and friend gatherings. So these two cameras would be for those occasions. And this is, without introduction needed, is the Fujifilm X100V. I have this camera to thank for sparking my passion for photography post-COVID. I was caught up in the gear hype for this camera back in 2019, 2020, and I really had to get my hands on it to see what the hype was really about. And throughout the years, I've made some really special memories with this camera, although I really don't use it much nowadays. Even so, it's become too emotionally attached for me to let it go. And the second option for me is a recent addition since last year, and this is the Canon PowerShot V1. I love this little pocket palette as it's got dual capabilities in both photography and video. It's got an inbuilt ND filter that is so handy for video, and that makes it really versatile for run and gun everyday video. It's been really great to document and create those everyday moments like postcards, and with C-Log 3 it gives you a bit of flexibility in post to color grade to your liking as well. The only drawback of it is, even though it's got an amazing versatile focal range of 16 to 50 millimeters, full frame equivalent, the minimum variable aperture is quite limiting, so I'd avoid using this in low light situations, but otherwise it's been a great little addition to the kit. And so to finish off, I just wanted to show some accessory cameras that really complement solo creators like myself, who don't have a full production crew behind me. This is the Insta360 X5, and it's a 360-degree camera, and it's been so helpful for me to film BTS content. If I don't have friends to travel with or shoot with me at any point in time, the Insta360 X5 has provided the ultimate flexibility, being able to reframe any angle, obviously because it's in 360, I want in post in terms of BTS content. And the second thing I wanted to feature is the Meta Ray-Bans. So I use this in the same way as I use the 360 camera, so essentially for BTS content. So I use the glasses just like I do as the 360-degree camera, but obviously without the 360-degree coverage flexibility, but it still makes my life so easy to showcase the behind the scenes and the first-person point of view when I'm shooting something. The whole point of the glasses and the X5 is to show you the immersive behind the scenes moments while capturing what I'm capturing. And that's basically it for the gear I'm going to be using for 2026. Are there any pieces of gear that you've had experience using, and what are your thoughts on them? Love to hear them down below. Or was there a particular piece of gear that you really want me to do a deep dive on? I'd be really keen to make a video on that as well. So let me know. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you in the next video.